Yeah, hi and good morning for all about session. In this session, we are going to cover all about how internet works or how a website is accessed by the user. This session will cover the topics specifically about, I will write down in a text pad about the DNS, DHCP, routing, firewall, proxy, server, and also about the some terminologies like who is ISP, our LAN, MAN, WAN. So we will talk about, of course, what is FQDN. So we will know about all of these things, right? So the expectation over here is that first we should understand that how a user acts or how what a user needs to access a website. So I will draw a user over here, right? This is the user, and I will draw that this is a website. So let me take a good um, icon for the website as well. So if I say that this is your website, right? And I put a name over here like xyz.com. Yeah, so it is xyz.com. And what will happen eventually that a user on the browser will try to access this website, right? Okay, this was a browser, so it should be along with the user. So xyz.com. Now this xyz.com should be on a server. So let me try to take a simple picture of a server. So I will say this is a server, right? And over here xyz.com is hosted, right? Now what happens? Okay, now from here, this is the server. It might be anywhere. It might be in US, it might be in India, it might be in Australia, it might be in anywhere in the world, but the user is able to access it from anywhere, right? How? Question is how? Okay, so first of all we know is that computer systems or IT systems do not understand English. They understand binary. That means numbers. It means that this, whatever instructions are being given to the computer, have to be converted into a numeric form. And that numeric form is called, what we say is IP address, right? IP address. Now, what is IP address is another question that we will understand over here. So an IP address is a simple numeric denomination of like 10.10.10.10, and it has got its four parts: 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, we will go into the details in next coming up sessions when we will know more about that, why it is in the four parts, what every part does, and what is this minimum number and what is the maximum number. But for that, you will have to understand what is a byte and how much value it can store likewise, right? And that is how you will be able to construct an IP address. So over here, first of all, a user will put the alphanumeric name of the website in the browser. That will be xyz.com, right? And when the user will put this, then it has to be converted into a numeric form. That is whatever. Let's take an example that x 10.10.10.10. How does it get converted, right? And this 10.10.10 is here, okay? And definitely that when we say that somebody is accessing the site, so he or she will have to have one source IP address as well. Okay, so let's say that the person's source IP address is something called the source IP address The most common range is like 192.168.0.1. You can see this on your laptop by using the command ipconfig. The command is ipconfig. So I will write down. Okay. So command is on the Windows system, it is ipconfig, and on Linux system, it is ifconfig, right? Okay. So these are the command. You open the command prompt and you do it, and you will know your IP address. Now this is the IP address, right? And this is the IP address of your laptop, and this is the IP address of your website. Now this will have to connect to this, right? The user's browser will have to connect to this. So how the instructions will flow? That is a question. That is what we are going to know in this all about series, right? So when the user will type the command over here, okay, this user need to connect to internet. Yes, true. Okay, how the user connects to the internet? Now I will take a simple box over here, right? And I will say this is the router, and this is the Wi-Fi router, your home Wi-Fi router nowadays, right? Earlier it was not the case, right? So if this is a Wi-Fi router, the user is connecting to this. Now this Wi-Fi router is the channel which is provided by your internet service provider, or it is bought by you, or you just simply have it from somewhere. That does not matter. But what will happen is that somebody will be providing you the internet connectivity, right? Today we will also talk about that what is internet. We will cover that question today itself in this session. What is internet, how it was formed. We will not go that who formed, what formed, and those general knowledge questions. Over here we are going to cover all of the technical parts, how internet works. So this Wi-Fi router, okay, one thing that is true, that you have to understand one thing. If there is any device who is taking your request and forwarding to someone, some other device or some person, will have two interfaces. One interface will be the which will be connecting to you. Another interface will be by which somebody will, I will just change the IP address over here, say 18, okay, and I will tell you why. Okay, so 18. Yeah, so it will have two interfaces. So one interface will connect to you so that you can do a request. Okay, right now I am putting one-sided arrow. I will tell you in next session or sometime when we will be covering hosting, then I will put it on the put the two-side arrow, and I will tell you how to achieve that and why to achieve that, how you can do that, right? So this Wi-Fi router, okay, and then this Wi-Fi router will send your request to someone, okay, that is your ISP's router, okay. This is your ISP router. All right. So I will copy and paste the same arrow and I will join it over here. That's it. And do you think that website is accessed? No. Right. After this ISP, okay, now they are all talking about the numeric term, right? So far, I have only told you one thing, that how to know your IP address. I have not told you that how to know IP address of this website. Okay, I will let you know once we go forward. So pay attention. Okay, so ISP router. Now this ISP definitely has someone in front of him so that it can come, it can send your request further. All right, how to send that will be answered shortly, very shortly. So ISP and another ISP, okay, and then another ISP, right? And how does it work? We should know, right? And now over here, what I am going to do, I am going to do a little bit fuzzy thing. Okay. And I am going to put over here redundancy. Okay. Why that redundancy? You all know that if one connection is down, then another through the another connection, you can still access the resources. Now, how it will work, right? I will put another ISP router. Okay, and let's make this picture a little more complex so that we understand the technical part. Okay, and then over here, I'm just drawing the pictures over here. Okay, then we will put down all of the important components over here, whatever are required. Okay, now I'm going to put over here a big box. Okay, and I will call it data center network. Okay, and I'm going to do little formatting of this, and I will send it to back so that you remember that this is a data center network. And in the data center network, I will put this router. Now this is not ISP router. This is data center router. Okay, and this is how it gets connected. Now I will remove this from here. Okay, and I will put it over here. We will come back to on this, that why I have done it. Okay, and then what I will do is that I will put over here something like 1.1.1.1 or say 1.1.1.5. Okay, and this ISP router, I will draw a line. Okay, here, and I will draw another line from here to here. And let's not talk about what is happening within the data center. We will talk about till the router. Okay, so now how it works. So this guy, first of all, want to know the IP address of the domain name. This XYZ is called what? This is called a domain name or FQDN. That is FQDN name is, I'm not going to put the full name over here. I will just tell that is fully qualified domain name. Okay, and that is essential part of a DNS system. Now coming to the special term DNS, this is domain name system. How does it work? Okay, and what is the command to know to convert from the name to IP address and from IP address to name? Okay, remember the domain name system or DNS system is responsible to convert alphanumeric name to the IP address or the IP address to the domain name, both ways. Okay, and the command is ns lookup, and this command is universal. First thing is this command is universal. You execute it on Windows, you execute it on Linux. Okay, I have not tried it on Mac, Apple, but it should be the same, right? So how do you resolve? So over here, this guy will open the command prompt and type the command nslookup xyz.com. What IP address it will get? It will get 10.10.10 in the answer. Okay, in the answer it will get 10.10.10. Now here is the important part. This request will go that I want to connect to 10.10.10. But before that, what will happen is that this guy will ask to convert the domain name into the IP address. That is called DNS system, as I told you. How does it work? How the DNS system will work? So this guy may have a DNS server. Okay, it's not necessary. This guy can have DNS server. This guy can also have DNS server. This guy can also have a DNS server. So how does it work? Okay, first of all, on each and every system, whatever is there, there is a host file, which does the local resolution of the file. It means that if somebody is doing NS lookup, then the very first hop or very first search is done in the local file. On Windows, this file is normally stored in C:\\Windows system 32/drivers/etc/host. This is the path on the Windows system. Okay, and that file name's path is say /etc/hosts on the Linux systems. Okay, and if you want to see that file, you can see that straight away. And what it will have a domain name and your laptop's name and an IP address, or it will have certainly one entry that is called 127.0.0.1. Okay, and localhost. Now, what is this localhost? So it means that your system's resources, if somebody want to access, will have to use a name that is called localhost. It means that where on the system on which you are working. And important thing over here, if you will put the entry in there for xyz.com and you will put any IP address, so that resolution is happening with you, right? And it will be considered. Your system is not going to ask to anyone further. Correct? One thing. Second thing about the Wi-Fi router. Okay, this Wi-Fi router will have one IP address. Okay, what will be that IP address and why that is so? So in the internet systems, when it was designed, so it was considered that the anytime the router will or gateway will be given some standard IP address. It is not necessary that it will be, but it is a general practice that 192.168.0 can be anything, but the last octet that will be 1 or 254. That okay, that is a standard practice. It means that if you will do on your laptop, if you will fire the command like ipconfig, I will show you this also, right? Ipconfig, you will get some results. Let's try to do this, right? Ipconfig. Okay, so I did ipconfig. Oh, probably I am not sharing my entire screen, so you will not be able to see. Let me do a stop share and I will share again so that you can see my screen again. Give me a moment. I will share that. I will share my whole screen now. Okay. Now I think you will be able to see this. Okay. Now I'm going to type a command ipconfig. So while I did ifconfig, I'm working on Linux system, so I'm more comfortable with that. So I did ipconfig. So I have got the IP address as 192.168.0.113. That is of my laptop. And then I have got the IP address 192.168.0.1. That is the IP address of my Wi-Fi router. Okay. And when I'm going to do the NS lookup over here, like, NS lookup, say our favorite site, that is google.com. What I'm going to get? I'm going to get 142.250.183.78. Right. So my laptop that's IP address is 192.168.0.113 want to connect to 142.250.183.78. Now, example, very good example. So I will start from here, correct? I'll start from here. Okay. So xyz.com. Okay. Like google.com I did. Now this want to go over here. So I connected from here. I have connected to this, isn't it? So you know how I'm connecting. Problem solved. How I got this IP address, how I got this IP address, how I got this IP address, we will discuss about it, right? But at the end, right? So I had this IP address. Now I'm connected to this. Now you know that I am connected to this, and I want to reach to this, right? So this Wi-Fi router knows that if I am going to request, for 10.10.10.10, then it has to take the request to here. All right. And certainly this IP address will also have some IP address, this router, correct? What is that IP address? Let's see. So there is another command called traceroute. Traceroute www.google.com. Enter. See what's happening. Now it is taking to me where 142.250. something, and that's how it is going, right? And it is going to something. Okay, I've got the new broadband. Yeah, now you know it, right? Correct. I will stop it over here, right? The reason the reason of stopping this is that I wanted to show that how it is going. So my IP address or my router IP address is this. Okay. It means over here, I will have to put, okay. It has got also some IP address. It means that it is 214.x.x.x, that IP address, isn't it? You got it? Okay. Yeah, great. So let's move forward. Okay, let's move forward and see that this has got one IP address. Now, the one thing that is very true, that it is connecting to further, yeah, somebody further. So this will also have got some IP address, any random, yeah. And this will also get some IP address, one side and the other side. All right. So over here, we should know one thing, one important thing. The capacity of this Wi-Fi router is how much? 100 Mbps, 200 Mbps. Wi-Fi's standard bandwidth was earlier 51 Mbps. Now it is increased. Now you are getting more powerful Wi-Fi routers, and you are getting speeds up to 200, 300, 500, 1 Gbps as well on your Wi-Fi router, right? So depends that how what is the capacity. We will not talk about much about capacity. We will just talk about that what is available in the market. Accordingly, we have to understand what would be the capacity of your ISP router. It means this is a bigger machine. This was a Wi-Fi router, okay, simple Wi-Fi router, and this is a much bigger router, and definitely this will be much bigger router, okay. And you should know there is one more word that is called MUX. Okay, read about it. These are very big routers. Okay, and those handles millions and billions of requests at a in a second, and they have to solve that. And those are normally not found in you don't see that in regular days normally. Okay, let's talk about further. Okay, so now what we know, that we had one FQDN, which was converted into one IP address and how it was converted, right? So we were talking about how it was converted. Okay, let's talk something more in detail. NS lookup. Okay, I did. Okay, one more thing that I will do. Okay, over here, that this is my request, which will go to the gateway. Okay, but where my this request goes, NS lookup, I will show you that. Okay, I will do ipconfig. I will simple extend this command by /all, and over here I get little more detail, that is 192.168.0.1. It means my first DNS server is on my router itself. All right. Okay. And if this will be able to convert my DNS name into the IP address, then stop. Job done. If this is not done, this request will go further on this. Correct? ISP DNS, or I will say DS router or DNS. This can also have a DNS. Okay, and then there are much bigger DNS systems. Okay, that you should know. ARPA, ARPA, you should know it. Okay, learn about it. This is the whole owner of worldwide DNS systems. They approve the global DNS server names, who will handle what, okay, what kind of requests, and who will convert those names into the IP address. They have the whole repository and they approve it, right? So anyone can host the DNS server. DNS server, on what port it works? Okay, DNS works on port number 53. All right, we will talk about the ports. Okay, right? In next sessions, we will talk much more details about the ports. But over here, so this is how it works. So when we get the 10.10.10 IP address, it will go and hit over here. Okay, and the connection, and it will return to something. Okay, what it will return? Okay, we all know HTTP, and we all know this is hyper text transfer protocol. Okay, we all know hyper text transfer protocol, but what does it contain? It is a simple text. It is an open text. That is how it gets hacked. In next sessions, we will know how not to get hacked. As a hacker, I can get into your system very easily, but how? And how you can protect? So for that protection, first thing is that you should not access anything which is HTTP. You should only use HTTPS, and the only word which is added over here is secure. Okay, how it can be secured? There are SSL certificates. In next sessions, we will know about that also. All right. So far, what we know over here now is we have an IP address, we have a domain name to go, and we know how the DNS resolution works, right? Anyone can have their own DNS servers, point 1. Point 2, there is one authority which defines that who will host DNS servers and what would be the different domains they will resolve. Okay, so those things are there. Okay, and they are also paid for those services, DNS services, and it works on port number 53. Okay, and that is a UDP. That is not TCP. DNS service is not TCP. Okay, we will talk about what is TCP and what is UDP. All right, so let's say that okay, we were over here. Now where to go? the question over here comes that where to go. From here, where it will route. Okay. So over here, there is one terminology, OSPF, that is open shortest path first. Okay. Apart from the redundancy, we have got open shortest path first as well. Okay. So over here, what happens eventually, that it comes over here, and whatever connectivity it is having already, it means that if it is live, it can connect to anyone, or it can do a load balancing as well. Okay. Okay, so it can say send half of the request over here, half of the request over here. It can send 10% or 70%, whatever balance it is configured to match. Okay, so accordingly it will send the request and provide the service to the user. That is it. Simple. Now the question over here is that how a user has got this, how the Wi-Fi router has got this. Then this DHCP service comes in the picture, that is dynamic host configuration protocol. Now we need to know a little bit about it. Yeah. So while I did IP config all, you see on my Wi-Fi, okay, this Wi-Fi interface name is Realtek something. It has got one physical address or say MAC address. Okay, remember that. Okay, and it has got something like that DHCP enabled, auto configuration. Now it has got a lot of configuration. Okay, now it has got one IPv4 address. So now there are two kind of IP addresses, IPv4 and IPv5. Oh, sorry, IPv6. Right. So we will talk about IPv4. When we will go into the next sessions, we will know about IPv6 also. Okay, so IPv4. How did it got? That's a question. So that's a dynamic host configuration protocol. Okay, so that is enabled on my interface. That is how it has got the IP address automatically. But I can do it manually also, so that it will never ever change. We will talk about this more in details on the servers normally, which are hosting websites on all of the devices within the data center. Normally, they have got the static IP address. So we should know the term dynamic IP address and static IP address. We should know about it. We can request it from our ISP that we can have one static IP address, isn't it? So on your router, as soon as you turn your laptop on, it gets connected on your Wi-Fi router, and your Wi-Fi router gives you one free IP address which is not assigned to any of the devices within your home. Right? That's what. So that is how you get one internal IP address. Now, while I say internal, we should understand what is LAN. Okay, that is local area network, right? Now we have to understand the terminologies over here. So this section, okay, this section comes under LAN. That is your local area network. Send to back. Okay, this is local area network. Okay, and when we go ahead and we talk about a little bigger, larger area, I would say over here. Okay, and this is between the ISPs. Okay, This is between the ISPs, maybe they're within city or a state. That is called, let me put a little formatting over here so that it is differently shown. Otherwise, it will not make any sense. Okay, send it to back. This is called MAN. Okay, and this whole world is called wide area network. That is called WAN. And our terminology called WWW. That is World Wide Web. Okay, so that is made of a WAN. And if practically if you want to access any site, you have to have one IP address. You have to have the name of the website which you want to access. Then DHCP will assign you one dynamic IP address. One. Second, DNS will give the IP address of the site. Two, router will decide to take the request and take it from some route, whatever is the available route using the OSPF or HA or high availability that is called used, and it will take you to the server, right? And in between, what are the devices? It does not matter to you. Those are the responsibility of someone, but they all have two interfaces. One will be the listening and another will be the forwarding. Okay, it means that so many IP addresses are involved in a single transaction. So now we know it today that how the network works, and taking from one packet from one source to the destination is called routing. What? Taking one packet. Each and every communication is made of multiple, many more multiple small packets. We will talk about the packet sizes as well and what packet that is called. Okay, and what information that packet has. Okay, we will talk about it. But in case of accessing the website, that all packets are encrypted or non-encrypted based on HTTP and HTTPS, hypertext transfer protocol, and secure hypertext transfer protocol. And those normally get the information like what is your browser, what is your request, what is the source, what is the destination, and your operating system information as well. We will talk about in the hacking sessions that how somebody can hack and how actually you can protect yourself, right? Okay, talking about your ISP, DNS, DHCP routing, we know firewall. Also, we learned about the ISP, LAN, MAN, WAN, FQDN, NS lookup name, okay, NS lookup and dominant, IP config, mask, OSPF, load balancing, we know little bit, but dynamic IP address and static IP addresses. Okay, let's talk about the static website, or say the IP address you are looking at over here 10.10.10.10 is always same. When we will talk about configuring the websites, then we will know that why google.com will have or may have the different IP address returning over here always. Okay, if I little scroll up over here, then I got the NS lookup as 142.253.78. All right, but right now also I'm getting the same, but it might change also. How it can change and why it will change, right? We will talk about this. That will be called high availability or load balancing. Let's go back to the today's business, that how a request is gone to the server. The way that it is gone to the server, that it will go to Wi-Fi router. and Wi-Fi router will send it to the ISP router. Then it will decide that from which route it will take it to the server, and then it will give the contents back on your browser. That this is how much, and this all is done within milliseconds. Maximum 1 or 2 or 3 seconds. Nowadays you get the website in your browser. So now you should understand how fast a DNS system should be, how fast a DHCP system should be, how fast your network should be, so that you can access any website. All right. So we need to know that can we access any website without having one IP address? Answer is no. Your mobiles are connecting to your Wi-Fi router. Your mobile is also having one IP address. Everyone is having one IP address. Whoever is getting connected on the network will have one IP address. Okay. And all packets that you are sending from your laptop or mobile contains few information. First information is your IP address. It means source IP address, destination IP address, correct? Your MAC address, it contains, right? And destination domain name, that also is contained. Some more information which I can access. If I am the owner of this website, I can capture your browser name, your browser version, your operating system, your IP address, your MAC address, your time zone. And on my page, on my web page, I can do scripting to know that what other websites you have accessed. All of the other websites, whatever you have access, I can know, I can get the list and I can send it across on my server. I can hack your system. It is very simple, and it is very simple to stop all those things, right? Right. So this is how you access any website, and these many systems are involved. So your first DNS system on your system is your host file. On Windows, it is located on C:\Windows systems 32 drivers etc host file. On Linux, it is /etc/host. It is a simple text file. You just put the IP address and you just put the name. Spoiled. Let me show it to you. Okay. I will go over there. C:/Windows system 32 cd drivers cd etc, and I will say type host. See, and now I will spoil the Google. Okay, how I will spoil? Let's see. Notepad host. Okay, this is how. Okay, now what I will do over here is that I will put any IP address. Say I can put 192.1. Or say, okay, let me do it one thing. nslookup.mail.com. Okay, and I've got this, right? Now what I am going to do, I'm going to put it over here, and I am going to say this is google.com. Simple, I have spoiled it. All right. Okay, it is protected and it will require the permissions. Okay, but what will happen eventually is that your google.com will start, when you use nslookup google.com, it will start giving you this IP address, which is eventually the IP address of hotmail.com. Is this going to work? No, it will not work. Okay. So you can simply do that. Okay. Likewise, the whole DNS systems, it is a simple text. But there are databases as well in the background. But the whole purpose of the system is that you do the NS lookup of the site, okay, or you the NS lookup of IP address, right? Now, see what happened over here, okay? When I did the NS lookup of hotmail.com, I got this IP address. And when I did the NS lookup of the IP address, I have got this. So this is the server, okay? This is Hotmail's server, which is hosted somewhere. And what I can do is that I can go ahead and talk to this server directly. If I want to hack it, I can connect to that. And this is wrong. Right? These should not be configured like this at all. Their one of the server is exposed, or router is exposed, their name is exposed, and it becomes an easy target for the hackers. Of course, right? Anyway, so that is how it works. So domain name system is just from the IP address to name, and from name to IP address. And it is worldwide. If DNS system is not there, internet is not there. It is part of the internet system. DHCP, that is only for the end users normally, like we are the user of internet. If we want to connect over there, then somebody will have to give us one IP address. So that is the system that is called DHCP. But that is not mandate, right? Okay. So we have to understand this is a home network. Correct. This is a home network. Now I need to make some space, delete it. And if it is my office, okay, this is my office. And there are so many users, right? Let me say that A, B, C, D, how many? Yeah. They all have got their laptops. They all want to access. So definitely I will have a router over here. It could be a Wi-Fi router. Yeah. It can be a Wi-Fi router. But what I will have to do, I will have to put over here one proxy server. Okay. I will have to put one proxy server. What proxy does will come later on. Okay. Okay. In next sessions, proxy is a huge system. Okay. How proxy works, and then there will be a kind of firewall. Okay. And then I will get one ISP router. Correct. So in a corporate, I will say it corporate network. What will happen in the corporate network? The access is not that simple. Your users are allowed to connect on the Wi-Fi router. They will access the internet through proxy. They will go to firewall, and the ISP router is there. Likewise, when we will be having this servers, okay, in the data center network. I'm going to show you a little bit of the things. Okay, then these servers cannot connect to the internet directly. Okay, what they do is that this is the ISP router. This is their ISP router. Okay, and then they will have to access it through a firewall. Okay, so we'll design this. We'll design this entirely. Okay, firewall. And then there will be internal routers. Okay, and not one router. There may be routers, switches. We will talk about what is the difference between the routing and the switching in the coming sessions. Okay, there can be router and the switches, and there can be, okay, there can be the proxy servers for the access. Separately, try to understand over here. The proxy servers for the servers is different. The proxy server for the corporates users is different. Let me move it to here. Okay, and this is a single organization. Let's say this box. This is a single big organization. Let's fill it a very nice color over here. Okay, and send it to back. This is how a network looks. All right. Short and sweet and simple. Right. So today we understood that what are the things involved to access of the internet. Today we know what are the things to involve to host a website. Okay, little bit we will talk about. We will design the entire data center network. We will design the entire corporate network. We will design the entire internet as well. Okay, but step by step, first of all, you need to know, you need to explore what is ARPA. You need to explore what is OSPF, right? And in next session, we will talk more about the internet technologies, much more details, like proxy, very much in detail. In next sessions, we will cover the proxy and firewall very much in detail. Today, what we have covered? We have covered how a browser works, what information is floated on the network, what is the bare minimum things that you require, what is the function of your router, where are the DNS servers, what are their roles, okay, and what are the things as a inter or say hosting a website I can capture of your laptop or about you. So this is all I have covered today in my session. Okay, this is all about series, and there will be more things which will be coming across, and definitely we will learn a lot over here about databases, DBMS, network, firewall, technologies, implementations, yeah, and how to build a website as well. We will cover shortly, very shortly, yeah, maybe next week. Okay, thank you for watching. Have a nice time.
Thanks a lot.